theological conspiracy culture. I don't know what to call it, but you hear the
Yeah.
Watchers thing a lot right now, and the Gnostic moment, the sort of maybe being related to the archons of certain Gnostic sects. But yeah, in John C. Lilly, it's kind of a benevolent group of non-human intelligence or consciousness that is guiding us towards evolution. I'm sure those concepts sound familiar in New Age circles and stuff, like these sort of spirit guides pushing us towards a higher level of consciousness and evolution. It sounds trite, but I think that it maybe sounds trite because of overexposure to the concept, but it is
Yeah.
fascinating how much John Lilly is a progenitor of so many things. Like when we talk about his solid state entity or his encounters with the solid state intelligence, it seems like so much of the conversation surrounding AI and AI prophecy right now is cribbed from
Right.
that concept and account of his, which is
It's
very,
really crazy to read it right now
it's
because it
insane.
sounds exactly like, and I don't know if that gives the people who are sort of like AI fanatics right now, if it gives them, you know, credit. I don't think it does. I think it's just because I think that these were, I mean, as much as I like Lilly and I think that his weird cosmology is interesting and useful, it also does feel like something that he hallucinated while like passed out on the floor. Um, if I was looking at it with no generosity, so it's kind of interesting to see it come out of there.
I
Um,
mean, the guy was brilliant. He was a brilliant
Absolutely
scientist.
brilliant. Yeah, like and one of the coolest figures of 20th century science and counterculture, just like a titan.
Yeah,
But at the same time, he was experimenting with vitamin K quite a bit,
yeah,
and which is another weird connection, being that that's so popular among sort of tech people right now, and like therapy and all of that.
yeah. But yeah, I
The
know what you
SSE,
mean. And I think it's because growing up when we did so much exposure to psychonauting culture, a lot of the same themes and encounters, and it's hard to separate it from the metafiction and sci-fi. But John Lilly, I mean, I guess some of that could have bled in as well. Certainly, he could have read Philip K. Dick's early stuff and simulation
yeah,
stuff. And it's kind of weird to me how the Cosmic Coincidence Control Center gets co-opted into the Gnostic simulation theory stuff, when it's much more of a spiritual thing. And I think John Lilly would be the first to
yeah,
admit that he's not saying like this is how it is. I think for him, he's telling you in books like Center of the Cyclone, and in The Scientist, and possibly in Metaprogramming, the Human Biocomputer. Though that was like a scientific dissertation, so that's kind of a little bit more guarded in how it
yeah.
writes about these things, and then he loosens up in those other books. But yeah, I think he would be the first to tell you that this is what he's coming back from these visionary ecstatic experiences and inputting into linguistic modeling. So
Right. No, it's his like it's what he was able to bring. It's kind of like a fairy realm trip where you're able to bring something back, but it's not going to be like gold. It's going to be a piece of wax, or, whatever, or a rock. And so he's bringing back this like sort of strange tale of, and the way he uh illustrates it, it's very like of its time too, like very 70s, like counterculture, like coming up with a, you know, bureaucratic, like, they're like a sub office of like this larger galactic coincidence. It's like kind of like it's almost if he wasn't so serious about it, you'd think it was like kind of tongue in cheek, like in a what's that book, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type sense. But it's not, and had this profound impact on his life because that's really how he ended up making a bunch of decisions, which led to these things that changed our culture as well. And I think almost anyone alive has experienced something that they could look back on and think, oh, that was, if I were to think of things in terms of Echo, that would probably be a message from Echo there. Like I think that's why it's so effective
Mm.
of a metaphor is because it's so true. But yeah, the way it's been kind of co-opted by people talking about like simulation theory and like the way Lilly in general has been co-opted by like tech people is kind of depressing because he interestingly kind of started out that way, right? Like
Hmm.
in the science field, dissecting monkeys and like making them have orgasms for 16 hours a day or whatever. And then,
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of like cell phone technology and slot machine technology, things like that, like the kind of reward system research
yeah,
that would have went into developing applications and social media and all the kind of issues that we have, like really
right.
stemmed out of that early research he was doing
Yeah, reward
in
stuff. It's everywhere
neuroscience.
now.
Yeah.
And so he kind of quit that when he kind of realized what the army and the military and the intelligence community will use that kind of thing for, which, because he was trying to, I guess, at the root of it, get to an answer to if we're just physical entities or if we have another dimension to us. And so his idea was to try to map experience within the human brain and then replay it somehow.
Yeah.
And if he could do that, and it was that kind of thing. Um, so he had this like very kind of philosophical, spiritual quest, while also being a you know neuroscientist, etc.
Hmm.
But
A psychologist.
and yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting too because it started with this external lab research that he really took all of those tools and turned it inwards on himself, and he became the subject of his own research, which
right,
is kind of a pivotal moment there, and maybe what kind of got him excommunicated from the conventional science community as well.
yeah,
And it should be said, if you're not familiar with, John C. Lilly's body of work, his biography and such, we did an episode that was, more biographical, maybe in 2021 or something like
a
that.
long time ago. We were talking about the Dolphins, and Gregory Bateson was there. I feel like
Yeah,
we were a little bit more noited back then.
maybe.
I remember that episode being a little bit more like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, certainly. I mean, you get the dolphin stuff it's a little
Yeah,
hokey, and there's a lot of wacky stuff in there. So go check that out if you're interested in seeing what we had to say back then. Certainly, but it also it does remind me a lot of Robert Monroe's book that we talked about recently as well. Journeys out of the body, and then what far journeys, especially
yeah,
far journeys, because Robert Monroe's following these protocols. It's kind of like a sober psychonauting, right? Like,
yeah.
but using his developments
Visit
in
patreon.com/consensusunreality to listen to this episode, subscribe to our printed journals, and receive regular exclusive episodes and more. Beware the changing story.